Hey, what's going on, Who That Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And this is part 5 of the State of the Saints podcast draft prospect edition. Now, in this edition, we're going to be focusing on a cornerback that I feel the New Orleans Saints could pick up and he can make an immediate impact. And that is cornerback CJ Henderson out of Florida. Now, if you have not heard about CJ Henderson, he is 6'1", 202 pounds, and he is a really good cornerback. He's a guy that has a very, very high ceiling. He's a guy that has a lot of raw talent. And I think that this can answer your question if you do not want to pursue, another contract with Janoris Jenkins, or you can't get something worked out. And I also feel like even if you can get something worked out with Janoris Jenkins, he can fit really well with the New Orleans Saints because he's 6'1", man. I mean, he's tall and he's lanky. He has really long arms. And that's very helpful when he's going up against some of those big-time receivers, those guys that are like 6'3" and 6'4", like Julio and Mike Evans that are in the NFC South. And, going up against guys like DJ Moore, he's a guy that can be really lanky, so that helps him, to be able to knock down passes and also, to recover, really fast. Another thing that he does really well is he's not intimidated when it comes to the tackling. I think this has been an issue with the Saints secondary for a very long time, is their inability to tackle in the secondary. When they get beat, guys get big plays on the offensive side of the ball because these guys aren't making tackles. He's a guy, he's 6'1", 202 pounds, and he's not afraid to put his head in there, to make a tackle. It's been several times that I've seen Florida play where he, gets past, the wide receiver, to make a tackle on a tight end or make a tackle on a running back. And he also does a really good job when it comes to the blitzing. When they bring him on a cornerback blitz, he has a way of getting home, and he's not afraid to let somebody feel that intensity. So I think that's a plus. And honestly, I think he's the type of player that the Saints see at C.J. Gardner-Johnson being, a guy that can play on the inside, in a slot, and also he can play like multiple positions as well. Not only can he play in a slot, but he can play on the outside as well. And I think that'll answer your problem. I did a video and I was talking about that on the last edition of the State of the Saints podcast, while the Saints they need to be focusing on guys that can play on the inside as well as the outside at the cornerback position because, the cornerbacks, they have a tendency of getting hurt, and you want to make sure that you have good depth and guys that can be versatile. And I think that this guy can do just that. A guy that's not afraid to tackle. And also he has really good ball instincts as well, man. He can turn his head around really fast, which is something that the Saints secondary struggles with. And also he catches the ball like a wide receiver, man. He has really good elite hands. So if the ball comes his way, he's not afraid to go out there and pick the ball off. And he also has good return skills, which I think is a plus too, because you never know, man. Some of those games where it's nip and tuck and a cornerback makes a play and is returned for a pick six, I mean, it can change the outcome of a game. The weaknesses of CJ Henderson, I feel like it needs to be addressed, is the fact that even though he is lanky, he's a little bit on the skinny side. So he's going to have to bulk up just a tad bit. Then that can hurt him, when it comes to lining up against a wide receiver that is good at hand fighting. Somebody like a Michael Thomas, even though he wouldn't be playing Michael Thomas, there are a lot of good wide receivers out there that are good, coming off the ball with their hands. And because he's a little bit, on the smaller side and has a small frame, he might be able to, that might be a problem, and he might end up, getting beat, or the wide receiver might end up getting an advantage over him. So that's not too much of an issue. It's just a matter of getting with the strength and conditioning coach and just kind of getting his weight up and also just making him a little bit stronger. But the sky's the limit for CJ Henderson. Rather it be the Saints or some other team, you're going to be hearing about this guy from years to come. He's hungry. He's a really passionate guy. Him and CJ Gardner-Johnson were really close friends when they were, when they were at Florida together. And I think with the combination of Henderson and CJ Gardner-Johnson, two guys that know each other, that have been friends, that have the same type of mind frame when it comes to trying to make a play, I think the Saints secondary will completely be upgraded if they were to draft C.J. Henderson. But on a scale of 1 to 10, do I feel they're going to draft him? On a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give this about a 8. I think that he has like elite ball skills. He's a young guy, and he's not afraid to tackle, man. And I think the Saints are trying to change the mentality of the secondary, especially when it comes to the hitting and also the intensity as well. They want guys to kind of fear them, going forward. So I would love to hear from you. What do you think about cornerback C.J. Henderson? Do you think he would be a good fit for the Saints? Do you know who he is? Comment down below, like and share this video. This has been the State of the Saints podcast. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com, search The State of the Saints podcast. Also check out the new podcast, The State of the Game podcast, that's available on YouTube as well, youtube.com, search State of the Game. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?